Ahoy YouTube, this is my maiden video. Hobby blacksmith who's learned an absolute ton from guys posting stuff on YouTube and figure it's about time I give back. So this is my shop, and it's for two reasons: just to kind of give you an idea of where all the magic happens, and also show that you don't need a prestigious, I mean, you can see all the crap in here, you don't need a clean, all set up shop to be able to make it work. This is my forge, if I can get out of the light. It's an old hibachi grill mounted on a galvanized barrel from Tractor Supply. Same thing for the hood. Hood goes up. I tried a kind of a flow by hair dryer for induced draft, but that didn't work out so hot, which actually the pipe outside does just fine. Crank blower, I used to have a hair dryer hooked up to that, which works beautifully, spliced in with a dimmer switch, which is somewhere hanging here, but spliced in with a dimmer switch, that way I could control the flow. But the last apartment I was in, which this is our house now, but last apartment I was in didn't have power in the garage, so found another hobby blacksmith in the area who was able to sell me this champion blower and a stand vise, blacksmith stand vise that's on the ground there, which needs a flange welded on and a spring, so that's not set up yet. But in any event, this bad boy seriously cranks. So the forge, hibachi grill with a T coming down, a pipe coming down on the bottom for the tweer coming up, with a T with a cap on the bottom. It's hard to show without it, but comes down from the body, inside the forge, tees up to the blower with a screw cap so I can empty out ash periodically, which I haven't had to do because it's pretty long. But you can't really see, but this is a vent cap, black iron vent cap threaded with holes drilled in the top, and then in the hibachi grill I screwed some coat hanger wrapped around the inside just to keep it in there, and then filled it up with concrete to seal the cap, so it wasn't a vent cap anymore, it was just a cap, drilled a bunch of holes in it, and it gives some serious flow, more than I would need. Ended up having to drill a few more holes so that the fire basically covers that whole area, and it works out pretty well. I don't know if my whole ratio of the flue to the opening is correct. I tried to keep it to 10%, but it works. So I get some smoke in here, but I just keep the garage door open and have at it. Coal barrel behind with just a shovel or a trowel to fill it up, and this anvil, I think I got it for $275 or something on eBay. It's okay. The horn isn't an it's not conical as much as I would hope. I was going to grind it down. There was a seam on there which I ground off, but it it's got a serious throat to it, so it's not great for cone, for actually doing rings. But I picked this up from a friend of my uncle's who was kind of a hoarder, collected antique stuff. Sold it to me for I think $50, which 110 pounds. I think this is $1.25. But the horn on it is much nicer. It's a cone, which I ended up picking that up, but it's it's a lot nicer to work on. Still has to be anchored down. Water tub, slag tub, oil, just used motor oil that I got from a auto repair shop, and that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. Little Harbor Freight 110 volt MIG welder, flux core, auto feed, high-low switch. It's nothing special, but I gotta tell you, it gets the job done. Again, it's doing it for a hobby. You really, you don't have to be all high-tech. You don't have to be Mr. Blacksmith. I mean, nowadays we're eons ahead of where they were when this was originated. So some of the tools I've got. This thing, it's a mason's chisel, but what I found is that it works beautifully not only for grooving. For Gary Houston, thank you very much for the pineapple twist. This was a reject from some candlesticks I made, which I could post, but candlesticks is a wedding gift. Turn that into a scroll. Not pretty. Welds have gotten better. A scroll, whatever, fork. In any event, that works beautifully for chiseling that line for the twist, and you can also drop it, oop, not that one, in this hardy hole as a cutoff tool. It doesn't really wobble that much. It's pretty good, works out well. You get the metal hot enough and it cuts through, so for a hot cut. A couple of hammers, another couple of chisels, a square punch. Wow, this is probably going to be a really bad video. Rounding hammer, rounded hammer, rounded on one end, flat on one end. Again, terminology, I've been doing it on and off for about 3 years and just accrued things from garage sales and that kind of thing. Forging hammer, which the face still has to be tuned up, which I highly suggest buying Mark Asprey's book, The Fundamentals of Blacksmithing. Bought that, and he, you know, I'm sure all of you have seen his stuff on YouTube. He's the godfather. And his book's awesome. Takes you right through, shows you how to treat the faces of your, you know, redo the handles, faces of your hammers, everything. It's beautiful. This was a garage sale pickup. Oh, I'm probably all over the place with the camera. Garage sale pickup, nice little cross peen for doing, you know, leafing and that kind of stuff. Works out nice. So yeah, simple shop setup, very dirty and, you know, kind of not organized all that well. A couple of sets of tongs, square bit, and a flat bit pair of tongs that I made out of some needle nose pliers, long handled needle nose pliers from Tractor Supply. They were like $5. Bent them over and forge welded, attempted to forge weld, and that's a universal bit tong. So I've got some tongs left to make because I'm just basically starting to get back into it pretty, you know, as a hobby. And this was my most recent creation, which is a wine flight carrier, whatever you want to call it. Carries wine glasses. It's a wedding gift. Made some for a bar, half a dozen of them, 7 of them for a bar in or around here that I used to tend bar at. And girl saw it online, friend of ours. We're going to her wedding. She wants one, so there it is. See, you can actually do halfway decent things, which it's got to be cleaned up and painted, but halfway decent things in a messy, dirty shop. Does it take a hell of a lot longer? Absolutely. There's a little scroll jig that was used for the legs. Some other little jigs welded up on angle iron. Piece of pipe cut off with a piece of rod, and that enabled me to scroll those all to the same diameter. So again, you can be messy, you can be dirty, and have a pretty piss poor shop. Not that I advocate for that, because this has a long way to go, but it can be done. So if you're a hobby guy and just looking to get started like I was years ago, do it. If you've got the space, you've got the time, throw some stuff in a corner and you can heat some metal up. So that's it. I'll come back and post another video to give more of a synopsis on that thing and give you the final product. So cheers, and keep rocking.